February 14th, 1986, a man in Connecticut was fighting for his life. Richard Reinhardt was lying in a hospital bed at Hartford Hospital, desperately waiting for a heart transplant. Without it, doctors knew he wouldn't survive much longer. Then suddenly, hope appeared. A compatible donor heart had been found, but there was one massive problem. The heart was located in Oklahoma City, more than 1,400 miles away. And when it comes to heart transplants, time is the enemy. Once a donor heart is removed from the body, doctors usually have about 4 hours to transplant it before the organ becomes unusable. 4 hours. That's all the time they had. Commercial flights couldn't make the trip fast enough. Medical transport aircraft weren't available. Every minute that passed meant the chance of survival was shrinking. So doctors and officials made a desperate call. They called the United States Air Force. At Whiteman Air Force Base, 2 pilots were preparing for what was supposed to be a routine training mission. Captain David LaForge and Captain Stephen Brugger of the 393rd Bombardment Squadron were scheduled to take off in an FB-111A Aardvark, a powerful supersonic strike aircraft built for Cold War combat missions. The FB-111 was designed for speed, range, and precision. It could fly close to the speed of sound and cover huge distances quickly. But on that night, its mission would be very different. Instead of carrying weapons, the aircraft would be carrying something far more valuable, a human heart. At 7:22 p.m., an FB-111 and a KC-135 refueling aircraft took off, heading toward Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma. Another FB-111 launched shortly afterward as a backup aircraft, just in case anything went wrong. The mission had to succeed. Flying at nearly 700 miles per hour, the FB-111 cut through the night sky toward Oklahoma. Just a few hours later, the jet landed at Tinker Air Force Base. Meanwhile, medical teams rushed the donor heart from Presbyterian Hospital in Oklahoma City to the waiting aircraft. The clock was already ticking. Every second mattered. Once the heart arrived, it was placed in a sterile medical container packed with ice. But there was a challenge. The FB-111 didn't have space for medical equipment in most areas of the aircraft. And the only pressurized area where the heart could safely travel was the cockpit. So the radar navigator, Captain Stephen Brugger, did something unforgettable. He placed the container on his lap and held it there for the entire flight. Later, he would remember that moment clearly. He said, "I was sitting there with the heart in my lap. We just looked at each other. I know I'll remember this for a long time." At 3 a.m., the FB-111 roared back into the sky. The race against time had begun. The aircraft accelerated across the dark skies of America, heading toward Connecticut. Inside the cockpit, the pilots focused intensely on the flight. Every detail mattered: navigation, fuel, weather, timing. Because if they were even slightly too slow, someone could die. Captain LaForge later said something that showed how serious the moment was. "It was Valentine's Day. We had this heart. We were going to save someone's life." Finally, just before sunrise, the FB-111 touched down at Bradley Air National Guard Base in Connecticut at about 5 a.m. Waiting nearby was a helicopter. The heart was immediately transferred and rushed to Hartford Hospital, where surgeons were ready and waiting. Doctors moved quickly. The transplant surgery began immediately. And when the numbers were finally calculated, the timing was incredible. From the moment the heart had been removed from the donor until it began beating inside Richard Reinhardt's chest, only 3 hours and 59 minutes had passed. Just under the critical 4-hour window, the mission had succeeded. A life had been saved. The event became known as the Valentine's flight, a moment when a Cold War bomber designed for war was used for something completely different: saving a human life. It also showed something powerful about aviation. The same aircraft built for military missions can sometimes become instruments of hope. And on that February night in 1986, a jet designed for combat carried something far more important than weapons. It carried a second chance at life. If you enjoyed this incredible aviation story, there are many more unbelievable moments from the skies waiting to be told. Because sometimes the most powerful missions in aviation history aren't about destroying targets. They're about saving lives.